The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties.
Don't ever let anybody tell you who you are. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and what you can't do. If you believe it, then that's what you can do. You don't let people tell you what you are and what you're not. Intentional focus, one play at a time, 6 seconds to play, and that's all it is. Everything you got. You don't put a man next to you, man.
Crossing pattern catch made by Jaden Reed. Jumps over a man as he runs to his right. Ertz is going to be blindsided. Down he goes. Fires over the middle. Caught on the run by Malik Carr. He's at midfield. He's at the 45. Now the 40. Angling for the far left sideline. Throws to the right pylon. Jump catch. Keon Coleman. In motion, Jaden Reed left to right. Jaden wants to throw it. He's got a man at the goal line. Jump catch made for a Spartan score. Hand off to Allen.
Ball came out.
Hit down at the line of scrimmage. Is the ball loose?
Yes.
Yes, it is. To the end zone.
He came down with it. He got it.
Jaden Reed. Touchdown, MSU. The Spartans win their homecoming game.
That's what we're capable of doing. Complementary football, offense, defense, special teams. Okay? Responding to adversity, sticking together. You know what I'm saying? Blocking out the noise, and then we got what we wanted. Inspirational words from inside the Spartan locker room after the dramatic come-from-behind victory in double overtime by Michigan State over Wisconsin in double overtime, as we know, on homecoming. This is Sparta. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick. Big game on homecoming weekend, fellas. What do you think?
Big dubs. It was great. And you could tell, from the beginning, from when that clip we just played of Coach Tucker in the locker room, fired up, inspired. If you listen to that, with blinders on, you wouldn't know that was a team that was on a four-game losing streak. You would think that's a team coming out ready to play another one. So it was very cool to get inside the locker room footage and see the inspiration that was coming from there.
Yeah, to Jay's point, man, it was electric. Homecoming, people coming back from all over, from near and far. You just hope and wish that every home game was that, where everybody came back. But I felt a different sense of, I guess, pride, urgency, playing free. You saw guys that, I don't know if you saw it with that Mo Bamba song playing, and you saw the huddle and the sideline jumping and dancing around, to Jay's point in our last podcast, was that they were having fun, right? And so to win in this fashion, we always play Wisconsin to the nail biters, man, to the end of the game. They did say earlier that, the team that gets to 17 will win the game, but clearly it was more than that. And so it was electric. I loved it, every part of it. I can't wait to deep dive and talk about it.
How about the chop towels waving in Spartan Stadium? How cool was that?
Man, especially when the lights, man, like at first it was like, it started a little slow. It was like, and then when that overtime and then that lights were hitting, you're like, oh, okay. This looked like a little Acrisure field.
Right.
It looks like the Acrisure field, like terrible towel, man. So kudos to LaRonda Burley, who is heading up the fan engagement. She brought that to life, where we haven't had that in a long time, where a full stadium giveaway. So we're looking forward to putting that onto one of them sponsors that we have listed to put their logo on that towel. So you heard it here. We're going to get that done next year.
Yeah, definitely. That was very
I love
cool.
that. Plugging the business.
That's what we do in this sport, but more so, you know.
Absolutely. I gotta love it, man. And you said it's exciting brand of football, 34-28. Last time Michigan State had an overtime game was against Nebraska a year ago, winning 23-20 in front of the Spartan fans. But it was just a special electric moment to have so many people back in town for homecoming, and a lot of recruits were there as well. And there was a lot of favorable responses and reactions from the recruits. And we'll dive into that in future shows when we talk about what an impact the Spartan fans made on the future Spartans, because it makes a difference. And they came away so encouraged about the atmosphere, and that's what the young players think about, the atmosphere. And Spartan Nation, you made a difference on that one. There's no doubt about it. And, guys, it was an exciting ball game. We're going to get down into the game day stat breakdown presented to you by IHOP right now. The 2x2x2 breakfast combo equals one delicious meal. Enjoy 2 pancakes, 2 eggs your way, and 2 pieces of bacon for only $5, only at IHOP. Hurry in and enjoy this deal for a limited time. Dine in only. Price and participation may vary. Restrictions apply. All right, fellas. Well, man, it was a exciting game down to the wire. We talked about it. Wisconsin was held to 283 yards of total offense, a team that came in averaging well over 320 plus yards, 380 yards of offense. And Michigan State, on the other side, 389 yards of offense, really kicked off by a 290-yard or 265-yard performance by Peyton Thorne throwing the ball.
Yeah, Thorne had he had a good day. The communication with him and his receivers, you could see that. He felt he wasn't pressing as much. And I say a lot of that credit goes to the fact that Michigan State was able to establish the run game early. In the first quarter, Michigan State already had 50 yards rushing the ball. Now let's rewind to last week's game when they had 7 total yards of rushing. So that's night and day difference. So that's what we keep saying on here. Run the football. That's going to allow you to open up your pass game. And that's what we saw with Berger, having that revenge game on his former team, and our boy Elijah Collins coming in and getting those tough yards, getting that tough touchdown. That was the thing that kept the Wisconsin defense on their heels, and we were able to open up the pass game a little bit.
Yeah,
Otis, he doesn't disappoint. He's definitely going to bring up the running backs, isn't he? No matter if we start off with
all day
quarterback,
but he also,
always goes back to the running game.
I mean, it's the bread and butter, man. We know it. If you can't run, you can't run the rock. Like, you can't just be one-dimensional. So, Jay loves to tote that rock, man.
Absolutely.
No, so we were talking about this earlier with, Jason and I. We talked about where Elijah Collins' energy and his impact goes well beyond, obviously, toting the rock. So when he gets in there, it's electric. He hits the hole. He grabs the ball, goes straight north-south, and just, one hit, he's not to going down, or he's seeing the hole quickly and getting north and south. And so it almost lifts up Jalen Berger, where you saw him run in for that end zone on that rushing touchdown where it was aggressive. He went through it, and it looked like Jehuu out there. It was like, pop, knocked him off of one shoulder into the end zone. And so that's what the pound, green pound, that's that feeling where you feel like you almost just ran that football in, because it was aggressive with an angst and urgency of just, I need to get in the end zone. And once you get in the end zone, you start feeling good, man. And I think that's where we start to allow Wisconsin's defense have to respond to that, which opened up the passing game, which we've been talking about it since day one. So if you have a balanced attack, Peyton's able to do what he does best. And, I don't want to knock on wood, but I felt like Peyton Thorne was back, man, in his mojo, playing free, launching the ball. Even if there were some overthrown passes, at least he was taking chances down the field, which is a total difference than what, he was doing the past couple games.
Without question, you look at the production for Jalen Berger, 16 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Collins, 14 carries for 43 yards. So just between the two of them, that's 30 carries.
Stray was talking about, 30 called run plays. That's last week we had 13 total run plays between 3 running backs. So that's what I'm saying. You have to try to establish the run game. That's going to help. That's going to help you build your confidence. And Otis, like you were talking about, you saw Elijah Collins running and getting those tough yards. Then what you see? Berger running, getting those tough yards. Because when you have that running back by committee, all of a sudden that internal competition is that anything you can do, I can do better.
Oh, you took it out. Oh, you took it.
So that starts coming in, and those guys start feeding off each other. And what happens is the defense now, they're like, oh, wait, what's happening now? They start getting off the bench and standing on the sidelines watching the game. You know, when the defense or the offense is watching their other counterparts play, that's when you get that juice is flowing. And that's when the mojo's going and the excitement is building.
Now, Jason, we can't go without saying that the offensive line in the trenches looked a whole lot better. I mean, we look at it where they were giving Peyton some time. They also was allowing him to do some passing, getting outside the pocket, but also kind of peeling back and helping them out. And so, you know, that changes the game where then we can stretch it, man. We finally get our tight end, big time catch, which was crucial. You know, coming down, running almost into the end zone. I mean, I don't think no one wanted to try to tackle him and had to get his legs basically. So, yeah, offense was a different offense, which also helps the defensive side. They got a lot of breathers, so
yeah,
good. It was good.
Yeah, and defensively, well, before we go to the defense, Jason and Otis, like, do we have between Baker and our tight ends, do we have the biggest tight ends in the Big Ten? Both our boys are big and athletic.
Yes, we're looking for Daniel Barker to be Daniel Barker. You know, we haven't seen a glimpse of him since he had that one-handed touchdown in the corner in Spartan Stadium. You know, he had that one big catch with the drag at Maryland. But kudos to Malik Carr with that big 72-yard reception where, you know, Peyton Thorne, you know, put a zip on that ball and was for 72 yards where it set up Elijah Collins for that touchdown, which was crucial drive for us in that moment. So, you know, Jehuu, I mean, we talked about having the biggest tight ends in the Big Ten. I mean, I haven't seen big tight ends and athletic from any other, you know, offense, you know, in the country.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And, you know, you talk about Barker not being there right now since that big catch, but it's the next man up mentality. All these guys have the talent, and Malik Carr displayed it. He has the size and he has the speed. You know, on that big run that he had, outrunning some of the defenders from Wisconsin. So it's that next man up mentality. You practice like a starter. You practice like you're going to get those meaningful game reps, and that's what happened.
You know, I thought that when Malik got in the ball game and was able to run that nice little seam route, it was the fact that Michigan State had stayed so committed to the run. If you look at that play, the two linebackers were looking in the backfield the whole time. They didn't even pay attention to the 6'5", 265-pound behemoth running right by him. I mean, it wasn't like they couldn't find him in a crowd, but they were so focused on, man, who's going to get the ball next? Who's going to be the bruising back between Elijah Collins? Is it going to be Berger, a guy that we know that's still going to lower his shoulder pads and run through us, run through our face? As we had Jarrell Worthy on here, and he said that, I like that term, run through their face. So in what happened, Malik Carr runs right by that face, and he goes 72 yards, should have scored. You know, he got tackled at the very end there. I think he ran out a little gas as he got toward the sideline. But that is a athletic down the field.
I'm going to take you a little inside the huddle here. So I'm back in mind that you see a big run like that. You obviously want a guy to score, but there's a little bit of you, if you're a big back, if you're Elijah Collins, you're like, come on, man, fall down at the one so I can punch it.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, shout out to Pete, who's helping us run this thing. I remember, was it our last podcast? He was like, I didn't realize Jehuu had that many touchdowns. I was like, yeah, it was because Jay Reed or somebody got him to the 5. he got all that. He got all the.
In my defense, in my defense, all right, I didn't have 21 touchdowns and 21 yards. I had over 800 yards that year. Thank you very much.
I mean, yeah, you was told that rock thing, which I said. You had some glimpses, but you also used to come in ready.
Fresh. I'm go package. I'm go package.
You chew the ball, eat. Oh, that's awesome.
They don't call it choo-choo for nothing.
Choo-choo for nothing. I mean, let's turn our attention to, the defensive side where, we've been struggling these past four weeks, right? And you clearly saw a whole complete change when Xavier Henderson, number 3, is back in the ball game, playing, dressed. He did all that he could with the knee brace. We call that the offensive line Don Joy knee brace. I've had the privilege of wearing that my senior year, and it is not an easy task or feat to sit there and backpedal and try to cover with that knee brace. But when you see him in the secondary, you saw a complete change in the communication where you saw signals, you saw him checking, correcting, even right before the pre-snap. And it was very active. And you saw a difference in how we were playing, how we were attacking. And I think the morale was up because you had your leader back. And it almost looked like he was communicating to every position on the field. And so him being back in the limited reps that he was in, he made a huge benefiting factor for our defense. Jehuu, you saw it on the sideline. The electric piece of it was our front 7 was getting to the backfield. It was a complete difference.
Yeah, definitely. Having a guy like X back there, it's a morale boost for the defense. And then also, too, let's not lose focus on the fact that Jacob Slade returned to the middle there and creating that pressure. And something that I really, really liked that Scotty Hazelden did was he dropped Windman into that linebacker. So they ran kind of like a hybrid 4-3 defense there. And I think that's what some of the success came from. I got a glimpse of that when we were at Maryland. They ran a stunt and Windman was at the end and dropped back to the linebacker stage. And that confused Tonga Vanloa. So I think that confuses a lot of quarterbacks, having him drop back like that. So I think that nice wrinkle and adjustment that Coach Hazelton did really paid dividends.
Well, without question. You saw him playing in his natural position at linebacker. He's got great feet. Obviously he's got a lot of pass rush ability, but against some of the top level offensive tackles in the Big Ten, he's just not the large human being that you see sometimes playing on that end that has that short burst that gets out. He does have the moves, don't get me wrong, but much more of a linebacker guy. Just what you hear Coach Tucker talking about, is one of the most selfless guys on the team, willing to give up his glory and his most comfortable position for the greater good of the team, which that's what he's been doing for the first 6 weeks of play here. Not only was he good at being able to make those plays in the backfield and intercept the ball, again, he comes up with another forced fumble. I think it's 6 now on the season for Jacoby Windman, being the first Michigan State defender ever to be named Big Ten Player of the Week 3 times during one season. That's a great feat, guys.
I was waiting on you, Strayhorn, to impersonate his voice when you talked about what is he looking to do? Yeah, what is he looking to do when he sees the ball? I was waiting on that impersonation that you just did.
So we got to play that interview. We got to get the interview from the post-game show me and Jehuu did, and obviously Will Tiemann was in the locker room with Jacoby. But, man, all I heard him say was, man, look here, man, I just got to get that ball. That's what we're here for, the ball. He said he goes after the ball in full pads and walk through. It don't matter. He's going in the line to get food. He's looking for that ball. That's what he wants. And that's one of the boys from New Orleans, man. And that's what they think. It was cool. Me and Jehuu, we saw Brandon Jordan after the game. with one of the coaches, that he helps develop along the way. I think out from Oklahoma, I believe he was. And he was, obviously very, very happy. Jay, you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, we did see Coach Jordan had an opportunity to hang out with him a little bit after the game, and he was thrilled with the way the defensive line played, coming together. Now all the pieces are starting to come there, and like I said, Jacob Slade coming in there, being that force rushing up the middle, because a lot of the times what people don't realize, Otis, this better than anybody. If you got a lot of people rushing upfield on the ends, what happens is the quarterback just slides up in the pocket and he has the ability to run or throw the ball. But with Slade in there, bringing that pressure from him in the face, he can't slide up in the pocket. So Coach Jordan is doing a lot of good things with those guys. Windman, he said in the post-game show, in practice, he's always, trying to knock the ball out of the running back's hands. And for running backs, you hate that. It's a day in practice. You just want to chill a little bit. And, you're running through a walkthrough and you got a guy coming and knocking the ball out of your hands. You're not expecting it, but, it pays dividends. He does it all the time in practice. And he said he practices like he plays the game. And that showed on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had 11 tackles and was just production points, like kind of reminds you of Greg Jones and all the production points he would get in a game. Let's not forget, Angelo Gross, 8 tackles, and then you got defensive back freshman Dylan Tatum, adding to 6 stops. It was a committee. It was a defensive stopping the offense by committee. It's not just relying on one guy. You kind of want to see that. You don't want to see your safeties 18 plus tackles because clearly something's not happening on the front 7. But it looked like everyone was having fun, man. And I think that was a difference maker of whoever was out on the field. It was basically, I'm going to make the play. I'm not going to wait on my counterpart here to make the play. If we all have that mentality, I'm going to make the play, then all 11 is going to be at the ball. You saw a different sense of urgency out there on the back end. We did give up some stuff that we've seen that we've had some troubles with, the hook curls or the deep drags or deep outs, but we can live with that. We didn't give up a big long ball, besides, we talked about this with Amir Speed and, the smash route, the smash corner route. That is a universal route. And we talk about the best corners being able to bait the flat route and get to the corner route. And on that one touchdown where just loses eye control versus not knowing and sensing that corner is right there running his corner route. And all he had to do was peel back versus open up in his hips. And it probably would have been a turnover, knowing that he has a long range, tall body build. So, we'll get those buttoned up, man. I think that's what they looked at. We have an off week, clearly, so we have some time to get people back up to speed and healthy. And your mind right, too, where you get a little relaxation. We're still doing practicing. But yeah, go ahead, Stray.
No, I mean you're right on target, and what I was thinking is this: you had that play that Amir Speed missed in the corner. You had the dropped interception by Dylan Tatum at the end of regulation. You also had another dropped interception. Brantley was sitting out in the end zone. This is in overtime, and then Gross comes out from the side periphery and tips it and confuses him, and they drop it again. Now, those are plays that teams go into the tank over. If you look at what this team has been able to do, if there's anything, obviously the win-loss record isn't where you want it to be as a fan or as a player or as anybody that's associated with the program. But the ability for this team to be mentally tough enough to focus on the next play and forget about what just happened and block out the noise is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I've seen teams that have better records, that have had way better luck than this team, completely fractured by now on the sideline and in that locker room, because the offense ain't doing this, defense ain't doing that, special like that. The complimentary football rhetoric that people, I'm sure, are sick of on the outside. It works. It's working because now that team is what we call a team. They aren't watching film in individual groups. They're watching the film together, so they know, okay, we are close. All we have to do is focus on the next play. And you are seeing the progression of this come to life, not only in, week over week, but play by play. There was a lot of people who talked to us, Jay, you heard them after the game, that said, man, that missed interception, I was worried that it was going to come back to bite them, right? You guys have heard this before. The missed field goal, whatever, it can come back to bite you. It only comes back to bite you if you're focused on it. Right? If you're focused on, man, what I messed up on, last quarter or last play, it will bite you because you're not focused on the task at hand.
Yeah, and something I wanted to talk about the defense that we haven't seen in the past few weeks is you guys saw this. You feel this, Otis. You know the feeling of this. The defense this week got off the field on third downs. When it's third down, the crowd got into it and they fed off the crowd and they were able to get off the field and get their offense back on to the field on third downs. That is something that's key. And that's something that's not you don't have a 3rd and 8 and they complete it. And that's a punch in the gut. Keep that drive going and going and going. So that's a big improvement. And I think that's due to changing a little bit of the scheme and having guys back from injuries.
Well, we forget that we have a weapon as a returner. So mentally, we need to get off the field so we can get the ball to number one. That's where he's best at, in space, catching the punt return and taking it to the house, which he did take one to the house, which is very, very skeptical.
Another one.
On that block where it was like a side block, not behind, but it was very, very – it's a game of inches, right? This is another one that happened where it was called back, but the way he ran that punt return, still the momentum shift, even though it was called back, we took that momentum back, where at first I thought we were like going downhill a little bit. And finally, that drive, I feel like that drive kind of electrified, the offense again. But we got to think about that when we're covering on third down, dude, we got to get off the field so we can get the ball to number one and let him do what he does best.
Yeah, and I'll say it, Otis. I'll say it. If everyone's thinking it, some people, the guys in the locker room can't say, but this year the Big Ten officiating has stunk. Big Ten officials stink this year.
I mean, you got to give more context to that. I mean, why have they stunk? I mean,
for you get the targeting call, on Fletcher. That's not a targeting call.
It's a personal foul, but not really.
It's a personal foul because
hold on. From the booth, you guys are on the field level. Okay, now that call happened simultaneous to another targeting call that happened down in Knoxville. Okay, the Alabama-Tennessee game. So we're watching our game, and they were going to the booth to look at the film. And on one of the monitors in our booth, they're showing another time. A defensive lineman literally put his helmet right under the chin of Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner a year ago from Alabama. Everybody's talking about how fragile the call against quarterbacks are being made in the NFL level. You got a quarterback, Heisman Trophy quarterback, that just got hit in the chin with the crown of a defender's helmet. We have a defender that grazed the chest area with the forearm, not the elbow, the forearm of a defender. He gets tossed. The guy from Tennessee stays in the ball game. Simultaneous happened from SEC referees and Big Ten referees. So,
I mean, and also it hurts because, shout out to Big Mike, one of my Flint Carmen Ainsworth alums. You hate it because he was getting his motor going too, on the field. And so for him to come out. Now, I did see that the running back was clearly gang tackled and being already down, to where then it was you can see was he pushed, but the way he lunged, it should have been a personal foul 15, not a targeting call, right?
You're taught play through the whistle. Your top play through. I'm a running back. I get it. I'm expecting a hit to come over. I'm expecting that fire after the whistle, second.
We trying to knock you out, Jay. Yeah, we trying to knock you out, bro. Well, one less weapon. Get him out of here.
Yeah. So if the players are expecting it, and the thing is, I think it looked worse than it because the running back was wrapped up. He couldn't really put his arms up to defend himself or anything like that. But at the end of the day, that's not why a referee's out there to make a play what looks worse than what really is. They're there to call what they see and what happens. All right. And I think that was a terrible call by them, ejecting that young man, and the block in the back for the punt return, another one. And all through the season, the Big Ten officiating has been terrible throughout the season. Even when we were at Washington, that was a Big Ten crew, and they made some very questionable calls there as well. So overall, the Big Ten officiating has been terrible this year. They can't find me.
9 penalties, 103 yards on the day. 103 yards. Every 100 yards equals roughly 7 points. So when you give them 100 yards, you just spot them 7. So that it should have been 34-21 when you look at it that way.
I mean, let's
rewind back to that 4th and 2 where we didn't get in. Like, I mean, I was like, Elijah Collins is going to get in. Clearly, I don't know what happened, but I kind of blinked and it was already turnover on downs. Like, we also had a timeout, so what else could we have drawn up to get that ball in the end zone? Because that would have been a different change, a shift in the game too. Well, from an offensive lineman's perspective, like Jehuu is probably going to say, give me the lead, the ISO right over the guard. Anything that's just point blank over the top or right through, right? That's probably what Jehu's gonna like, or the draw, something like that. That's what Jehu's love. But as an offensive lineman, we want change of direction, misdirection on the goal line because there's no time to react if you have athletes back there. So what I'm talking about there is, a hard fake to the outside with a nice bootleg. You guys understand the bootleg action. So make all the action go, let's say, to the right, for instance, and it looks like you're getting ready to hand the ball off to a speedster that's going to run to the corner of the pylon over there. And then you stop that action, boot around, and you have 2 receivers. So you can either throw it to the short receiver in the flat, somebody in the back of the end zone, or run it yourself. That play is pretty much, there's like a 95% success rate if you run it somewhere around the 3rd, 4th down and go inside the 3-yard line.
Man, if you don't stop right now, Stray, if you don't stop right now, you try to get you inside.
All he want to do is get the rock. See, because that don't have nothing to do with Tutu. That's taken away from his stat. That's all he care about.
Don't be cute.
I'm trying to win, baby. You talking about your stat.
You trying to be cute. Oh, let's do this, and let's roll back out, and then we can toss the ball, do a Tim Tebow jump pass, run the ball.
No.
Put your head down, run the ball. Put your head down, run the ball.
If you don't have Choo-Choo in the backfield, look, we did that and got stopped.
That's the only time Collins have been stopped with that.
So you live and die by that.
I live and die by that. Run the damn ball.
You better have the right guys up front opening that hole. That's all I'm saying. You damn well better have the right guys in there in that A gap opening up the hole, because if not, you're gonna get stuffed, Jehuu. I don't care.
There's no fullback at though.
If you need 2 yards.
If you take that rock, where's the fullback?
Well, what happened to the fullback? What happened to the dying breed? The dying breed. Like, where is the fullback? Put a defense.
He got a couple of years of eligibility left. You get in there and lead block.
No, fullback dive, baby. Come on, man.
Okay. See, if you threw a fullback in there, now this is where I say you can get a little cute there. You fake that dive
and then pitch it. Yes.
The tailback takes
see?
That's a J Ring special right there, right?
Right. That's Jack Wright.
Is that misdirection?
That's Jack Wright. Fake 20 dive, 39 toss G. Get that guard kicking out there. Put that guard out there on that corner 1-on-1. Whoo, child!
Talk to him nice.
You see that big ham hock from that guard running in front of you. That's a tailback. You salivating. Now, Yeah, the ham hock just rocking in there.
That reminds me of the game last night between Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas, and they were trying to control what's the player number 11 for Dallas? It's
Micah Person. Yeah,
Micah. Man, they were trying to control him because he was taking over the game. Right tackle had gone out from Philly, and so Dallas Philly started running counters and just like kickouts, like you said, the G play the powers right at Parsons with the guard. And if you haven't heard it, go listen to what Chris Collinsworth said when Dickerson knocked out Michael Parsons. I won't say it on the air here because it was questionable, but Chris Collinsworth had a nice little taste of what you're talking about with the ham hocks coming after. You say you start salivating as a running back, so that's the other side of it. But
you're taught us
a damn good call.
You're taught as a running back, run to butts. That's what you're taught as a running back. But they don't say butts.
Well, let's go to.
They don't say butts.
They don't
That's
say
good.
butts.
At least you're not aiming at ankles. That's when it's a problem. All right, guys.
Well, let's talk about overtime, man. Let's talk about the overtime. Let's talk about Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson calling that first play to the jet reverse to your boy Reed and threw that dime. I mean, it was a dime ball, like zip on it.
Man.
Where if honestly, I thought it was about to get intercepted, but then you got King Kong Keon Coleman. That's what his new King Kong Keon Coleman. No, did you see that? I wish
King Kong Keon.
That picture, prize shot of him, like basically had a Jordan Jumpman leg, and just, I mean, Moss is my man, and that's a call that I'm glad to see versus the conservative call. Like, all right, let's go 3 down and get to what we can get to and then kick the field goal. No, let's go for the go. And that first play, like that is what I like to see. And I think everybody wants to see is let's take chances and live and die by them. And that was a huge piece right there, man, where we needed that one. Now, go ahead.
So with that, you know what that tells me? As an offensive coordinator, we don't trust kickers.
I think it's not the kicker; it's the long snapper. Now,
what happened
prior to
it's all of them.
It's all of them.
It's all of them.
It's all
of them right now. When you got two long snappers and 2 or 3 kickers kicking in the course of 5 or 6 games, we got nobody. It's a problem.
We need to rewind and go find my man's who kicked that Buick field goal the first time.
Yes.
Akron game.
Yes. I asked him, did you have some eligibility? He was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm graduated. Let's get a J.R. Smith to come back. He can play.
Right. But Otis, going back to your your point there. I think that's just Coach Johnson going and saying, hey, our guys are better than your guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to take that shot. And it was a well-designed play. And once again, that's what happens when you run the football, because when you do that and put the ball in your best player's hand, in Reed's hand, those linebackers are shooting up, and so he, great poise by Reed. He threw the ball up there, threw it where he knew his guy, can get hops. He can go up and he can get that ball and bring it down. And that was a great job. And the really cool thing is I was standing right behind his family, and they were going crazy. So it was really cool to see and good for them. And it's a great statement for MSU's offense.
Here you got the play right there.
Here's the play right here.
Did you see how he threw that ball, though? He threw that ball like it was like in the backyard. He was like,
that was a dime.
No follow through.
He was like,
yeah.
But it was spinning, though. The
ball
was
spinning. Man. It was zipping. Like, I think it was so quick, people couldn't follow it. They were like, what is going on? But, he scored a touchdown. Boom. But then, then we flash forward to when Wisconsin
And
had
then
the
to your
possession.
point, the last one. Yeah, so Wisconsin has the ball, and as we talked about it earlier, Jacoby comes up with the big play. You know, there's two. So they tie it up, obviously, with the play with Amir Speed that you broke down already, Otis. And then the following possession, Wisconsin has the ball, and Jacoby takes it away. But the play that is ensuing, go ahead.
Well, obviously we scored. Then Wisconsin has possession. You know, it's 3rd and long, and we're manned up, man free. We got the safety in the middle, and Amir Speed kind of, off the line, kind of trailing, but he catches up to his man. So, like, his man is covered. It's that crosser on the opposite side who was trips right, where the safety is trying to figure out, okay, which level or which receiver do I need to go after as I'm reading the eyes of the quarterback. But you think about it, we didn't get pressure. So he's sitting back there and just picking us apart like, well, I'm just going to hit this crosser and this deep drag and no touchdown. And so right then and there, but was it beyond that, we almost had the interception, though, right? And we dropped it?
Yeah.
That same drive, like, that's when I was like, a lot of people in Spartan Stadium said that was our chance to seal it, and we missed that opportunity. Yeah. And everyone was like, I don't even know if we can last the next overtime after they scored that. Then all of a sudden, first drive, and to your point, go ahead, Stray, you talk about Whitman's capabilities of punching the ball out.
Yeah. So, Jay, obviously Jacoby Whitman was able to knock that ball out while the Badgers had the possession first in that second overtime. And, their backs against the wall at that point. All they're going to do, they're going to be desperate. All you have to do is kick a field goal to win it after the big turnover in overtime. Michigan State gets the ball. Peyton Thorne, it's a called run play at the line of scrimmage. The linebacker is walking up into the A gap, showing blitz, and he looks outside and he sees his boy, from Little League, Jaden Reed, one-on-one. There was no safety help. So Peyton changes the call. Like, we've been talking about Peyton making the wrong call or not having the confidence. Like, that was not the Peyton that we saw on Saturday. Peyton changed the call, which is a gutsy call, because now, hey, you can throw the ball in harm's way. They can pick it off. You can be going into a third overtime, right? There's a lot of things that could happen. But he trusted himself. He trusted, most importantly, his receiver and his offensive line to pick up the block. He calls the audible, one-on-one, back shoulder throw that we've seen, feels like 100 times, to Jay Reed in the corner of the end zone, the front corner, and he comes down with it like in this ball game right there. A walk-off touchdown for Michigan State in that northeast corner, which has had so many wonderful comeback and final plays for the Spartans' favor right there, guys.
With that, Wisconsin must have nightmares up that northeast corner, because that's where
you talking about the Hail Mary. That's crazy.
That's where the Hail Mary was.
That's crazy.
And, that's where that play was. But back to that, we talked about Thorne and his receivers getting back on the same page and communicating well. And you broke that down perfectly. It was a called run play. He looked over there. He didn't see any safety help. He saw man-to-man. And that's when he said, my guy is better than your guy. And I'm going to show you right now. And this dates all the way back to last season. You saw it for the 2-point play against Michigan, to go up against them last year. It was one-on-one, my guy's better than your guy. We saw it in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl against Pitt, that same play, and we saw it again on Saturday night. That is just simply having confidence in your players. That's having confidence in your teammates, and knowing that when the ball's up there, the only person that's coming down with it is number one wearing the green and white.
I mean, my the corner was 7 to 10 yards off the ball. Like, that's like That's like just invite them in. Like, hey, here you go, man. At least you're gonna get a first down. I mean, I'm so glad that they had that relationship because it's crazy. Because Reed didn't even say, "Hey, tap my head," like, bro, like he didn't even have to say anything. It was just like, look to the right. Oh, I got you. Boom. I feel bad, man, because that dude was in position too. Like those are the nightmares as a DB because you handled it the right way. But best ball, man. What did Keon Coleman say? He was like, he said it's 100% jump ball. I know I'm getting it.
Right. Oh yeah, it's not 50-50 balls. 100%.
It's not 50-50 ball. Yep. Look.
I like this.
Now let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this real quick. So March of this year, Keon Coleman tweets out, "Hey, I can't even see it fully." Oh,
it said, "Dear me, in 7 months,
yes,
I'm gonna make you proud." And then he did that.
Dog, look at that. That is a post. That is a prize photo shot, man.
Right.
Kudos to whoever the photographer was that got that. But man, that's beautiful.
That's a
poster.
Yeah, that'll be one of these boys, like the one behind you, Otis, hanging in his man cave.
For sure, man. For sure.
Funny, man. Well, guys, look. I mean, it's been fun, man. We got a lot of memories from this ball game. We can always talk about this one to break it down. It was a great performance on all sides of the ball. Offense, defense, and special teams were included in this ball game. And the will to win coming back in overtime, a double overtime, was special. So, before we break it up and put a bow on this show, Otis, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think that whatever preparation we did last week, please continue to do that. I think it was the point of, like I said, we had a us against the world mentality. We know who we are. We know who we're capable of. And now it's time to rock. That team down the road is on the clock. And we got rest time this week. Kudos to Darian Harris and the football squad who they're doing some community service week in the community. So kudos to that. But I think it's time to truly get a little relaxation, get your body right, get your mind right. And we're back to it, man, getting ready for that team down the road. And 7:30 p.m. kick under the lights. Doesn't get any better than that. True.
I was waiting for Big Boss to give me the go ahead.
True.
But no, Otis, hit it. I think it was Michigan State played complementary football. Offense, complemented the defense. The defense complemented the offense very well. We had some blurbs in special teams, so we had that big play with that punt return that was called back. That's still some momentum that you can build off of. But it's time. I think the offense is starting to click at the right time. We're starting to get guys back healthy. Axis, he's gonna, have an extra week to rest. Slade's gonna have an extra week to rest. Other guys that were nicked up and banged up is gonna, have that time to rest. And I think, I don't know, Michigan State football could be getting our swagger back.
Sure could, man. Hey, I know everybody's excited about it, except the Spartans. The little older Spartans, my age and above, that are like, the 7:30 kickoff is going to be terrible. Hey, I know how it is to be in that locker room. That we love them night games. So, I mean, thank you to whoever made that decision for Michigan State to be a night game on the road. Usually, it's good for them to end at night. A lot of them end with the lights on. This one's going to start with the lights on. So, a lot of festivities, I'm sure, and a lot of people getting very well oiled before the game, if you know what I mean. So, keep it safe out there. Keep it classy, Spartans. But I'm sure the team will give you something to cheer for. So, hey, let's pack the house. Why not? Well, let's have a nice contingency going over there to Ann Arbor and cheering on the boys down the road to see them bring home a victory and keep Paul Bunyan at home where he belongs. And guys, I think this was a great show, a great turnaround game after a 4-game skid, and perfect timing for, as you said, the guys to get healthy that have been a little bit banged up. You want all hands on deck going into this game, this all-important game. We're going to break this down several times before the next kickoff. I think our next show may be live, guys, from what I understand. Otis, maybe go someplace. We'll see what happens.
We'll keep it guessing. We'll keep them guessing.
In the biz, that's what they call a tease. That's what they call a tease in the biz.
Yeah, yes.
A little Salt Bay.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll put a ball on this one. Good job to you guys. And for Otis Wiley Jehuu Caulcrick, I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta. Have a good night. God bless and go green.
Go white.